Hey guys, Pokemon Collectibles here, and welcome to another Pokemon Assessment Friday. Today is a Pokemon that is actually very near and dear to my heart. Today's video will be featuring Umbreon, one of my favorite evolutions, as well as Jolteon. It's probably I'd say second favorite, but I think Jolteon and Umbreon pretty much tie at first, with second favorite probably being Flareon, just because I really like Flareon. But for anybody who has been around since Generation 1, Umbreon is just one of those Pokemon that is timeless. I know there's more and more Pokemon coming out today, and there's new and exciting Pokemon to see, but I always go back to Gen 1 because I have been a Pokemon fan since the very beginning, and this is just one of those Pokemon that I'll always like, not just because of nostalgia reasons, but Umbreon is also a very amazing Pokemon outside of which goes away from my fire type Pokemon that I like, but there's just something about Umbreon that I've just always liked since I first saw it, and hopefully I will show you guys in this video why I like it so much and why I can already tell you guys that it gets a 5 out of 5 rate. Generation is Gen 1, as I've said before. It is number 197. As far as element, it is darkness type. It comes from Eevee, which is a normal type, so it looks like each one of Eevee's evolutions, though, which I've never really noticed this until now, but each one of its evolutions is only a single type. Umbreon is the dark type, and I've seen a lot of fan-made evolutions. I've actually made a couple of videos about them, but I've seen people make fighting type, bug type, rock type. I mean, there's so many different evolutions out there. If you just Google fan-made evolutions, you'd be amazed what you can find. It's so many amazing pictures. Like I said, as far as evolution, it starts with Eevee here, and it can evolve into Vaporeon, which is water type, Jolteon, the electric type, Flareon, the fire type, Umbreon, of course, darkness type, Glaceon, ice type, Leafeon, grass type, Espeon, psychic type, or Sylveon, fairy type. So that's 8 different possibilities when you get an Eevee, which is astounding, really, if you think about it. Eevee really is the only Pokemon that can evolve into this many of a variety of Pokemon, so it's a very, very special Pokemon, and it really depends on which item you have your Pokemon holding, or certain circumstances, as you'll soon see with Umbreon and Espeon. They both have a certain way you have to evolve them, but other than that, Umbreon is just, he's just really special to me. Him and Jolteon. I've just always liked the design of Jolteon, but I'll get into that in another video. Now, when looking through this stuff, I actually found a really cool Pokedex entry, but I think we're going to read all of them just because I kind of like all of them. I think Y is my favorite, though, but just to go in order here, I'll start with the Pokedex entry in X, Pokemon X. The light of the moon changed Eevee's genetic structure. It lurks in darkness for prey. So it already says that you have to evolve your Eevee at night for it to turn into Umbreon, which is what I was saying before. The special condition is that you have to evolve it at night. Then Y goes on to explain further, when exposed to the moon's aura, the rings on its body glow faintly and it's filled with a mysterious power. So again, it's going back to kind of like a werewolf, if you think about it. Umbreon is the werewolf of the Pokemon world, which is kind of funny because it doesn't look like a wolf, it looks more like a fox to me. Maybe that's just me, but I've always associated all the evolutions with sort of looking like foxes, except for maybe Vaporeon, because it is water type, so it has a fin for a tail and it has fins all over its head. So yeah, not really a fox unless it's underwater fox, maybe something like that. And then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire actually share the same Pokedex entry, so both of them say Umbreon evolved as a result of exposure to the moon's waves. It hides silently in darkness and waits for its foes to make a move. The rings on its body glow when it leaps to attack. So again, pushing that home that it likes the darkness, it evolves at night from Eevee, and that's where it makes its home. It likes to be in the moonlight, and the moonlight apparently makes the rings on its body glow, which, as you see, it has yellow rings all over its body. And if you look at the shiny, which this is the first shiny that I can absolutely say that I love, mostly because it's blue rings now instead of yellow, which, I don't know, maybe it's just me. The fact that Umbreon is a dark type Pokemon, to me, black and blue kind of make more sense than black and yellow. I mean, I guess they're going for black being the main color of its body to show that it's dark type, and then yellow meaning like the moon, because yellow yellow is sometimes associated with the moon. Not really too sure what they were going for there, but the shiny of this one to me is awesome. I really like that color, and I really wish that was the regular color of it. I've actually never caught a shiny Umbreon, but I wish I had, because that is a beautiful Pokemon. And just for the heck of it, we have other names in other languages: Japanese, French, German, and Korean. I think it's kind of funny that the Japanese version of its name is Blackie, because that's so boring. Like, Pokemon has thought of so many cool names for their Pokemon in the past, and, you know, just plays on words, stuff like that, but why Black? That's just, I don't know, to me it just sounds like a name for a dog or something. Like, I've heard of dogs being named Blackie or Brownie or something like that. For Umbreon, I think it should have had a cooler name. Maybe that's just me. Sorry if you like that name for it, but I don't particularly like it that much. Now, as far as abilities go, Umbreon has an ability called Synchronize. When this Pokemon becomes poisoned, paralyzed, or burned, so does the opponent. That's really effective. However, Fire type and Water Veil ability Pokemon cannot be burned, Poison type and Steel type and Immunity ability Pokemon cannot be poisoned, and Limber ability Pokemon cannot be paralyzed. So it only helps with certain Pokemon, but that's pretty cool actually. If you can make your opponent also poisoned, paralyzed, or burned, it's kind of like an eye for an eye kind of move. The other one is Inner Focus. This Pokemon will not flinch, does not prevent flinching with Focus Punch. This Pokemon is very conditional with its abilities. It definitely is. Or can make your opponent poisoned, paralyzed, or burned, or unless these two types, it won't work with this, and then these two types aren't working with this, and then Inner Focus, this Pokemon won't flinch, but no way it will flinch with Focus Punch. It's just very situational. I guess they were just trying not to make it overpowered by making conditions for its abilities, but still have to admit that's still some pretty cool abilities. So I like that quite a bit. Now, as far as gender ratio goes, and I've noticed that whenever I saw Umbreon in the anime, that most of the time they were male, but I did not know that the gender ratio was that high of a percentage. Apparently, you have an 87.5% chance to get a male and 12.5% for female. So that's not anywhere close to half and half. I did not know it was that far apart, but it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't really care most of the time as far as Pokemon genders. I just think it's kind of silly that certain Pokemon, mostly referring to Mr. Mime, but certain Pokemon can be female, because to me that one just seems like it should have had a different version of it. Or maybe they could have changed up the female one and made it a little more feminine. Other than that, besides the ones that just look like they should be one gender or the other, I'm not really too worried about it, but I just thought I'd throw that in there in case you guys were curious about percentages. Umbreon is 3 feet 3 inches, which is exactly a meter apparently. I did not know that. And it also weighs about 60 pounds, so it's about the height of your average dog, I'd say. Something like that. If you have like a medium-sized dog. Now, this is one of the few that its body style actually makes sense. That actually sort of looks like Umbreon. And as far as Pokedex color, it is black, so that one actually makes sense. There are a few Pokedex colors that actually make no sense whatsoever, but I'll get into that when I actually find them. This is a picture of Gary's Umbreon, apparently. It just says Umbreon of the anime, and beside it says Gary's Umbreon, so I'm guessing that's his. I just thought I'd put it on there because it looks really cute. It looks like it's a little frantic though, like it's running towards something that it really needs to get to. I've actually never seen that episode before, but I do know that it does look a little frantic. And as always, I went on Bulbapedia.com as well as Cerebi.net. That's actually my two sources that I get my information from. Pretty much any video that you see that will be the Pokemon Assessment Friday, pretty much any video you see that I do that for, it's going to be from these two sites. And occasionally I'll look up stuff on Pokemon.com, which a few of these pictures have come from, but it's mostly Cerebi and Bulbapedia. So I know I promoted them in the past. I am not sponsored, but they do have amazing content. If you ever want the specifics like stats, Bulbapedia also has a huge selection at the bottom that you can look at sprites from all the different games, including the animated ones. And that is actually where I found this. So you have Eevee over here on the left. It says Unevolved Eevee, Normal type. And then you have First Evolution, Umbreon, Dark type, over here on the right. In the middle, it says Friendship and at Night, with something that looks like a Soothe Bell, which it is. And then if you click on that, it says Friendship is a measurement of how much a Pokemon is attached to its trainer and enjoys being in their care. So you raise your Pokemon's friendship for different reasons, and apparently for this one, you raise its friendship to evolve it at night and turn it into an Umbreon. So that's just a little interesting tidbit I thought I'd throw in there in case you guys are wondering how to evolve it, because I never really actually knew. I mean, I've had Umbreon before, but it's been a while, so I don't really know how I evolved it, so I didn't really remember that too much, but that's kind of cool actually, I think it's really interesting though that you get Umbreon to like you, to be comfortable with you taking care of it, and then you evolve it at night and it turns into this little Umbreon, and it's a good way to show off, hey, my Pokemon really likes me and really trusts me and knows that I'll take care of it. So I think the same thing is true with Espeon, except with Espeon you evolve it during the day, because that's kind of like the daytime Pokemon. That's the opposite of the nighttime Pokemon that is Umbreon. Now as far as status goes, just to throw that in there, this Pokemon is a regular old Pokemon. It's not legendary or anything like that, as much as I would love to see a legendary Umbreon. That would be really cool if they had turned it into a legendary, but it's just a regular old Pokemon. Again, still hoping that I'm going to get a legendary sometime soon. As far as physical design goes, I think I've already said that I'd prefer its shiny to be the regular one, because I just think the shiny looks cool. I think it's better suited for a dark type Pokemon to be black and blue instead of black and yellow, but again, that's my opinion, so feel free to put it in the comments below what you guys think. Also, once again, let me know if I missed anything or if there's an interesting fact that you guys would like to know in these videos that I haven't been putting in. Like I said, I'm just trying to put as much knowledge as I can in there so that you guys will know as much as you need to know about this one Pokemon. And just to see what will happen, I'm going to go to my random number generator and see what it gives me for next week, in case you guys are wondering and you guys are still watching at the end of this video to see what will be next week. And next week is number 221, and I don't know who that is, but it is Gen 2, I do know that much. And number 221 is Piloswine, or Piloswine, or however you want to pronounce his name. I think it's Piloswine. I'm not really too sure, but either way, that will be next week's video, that little hairy dude from Gen 2, the evolution of Swinub. So look forward to that next time as we cover Piloswine. He has a really high attack, actually. I can already see that from Pokemon.com. That's a really high attack Pokemon. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the assessment of Umbreon. Again, I may have been a little bit biased because it is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I just really like it a lot. As far as stats go, as far as physical design goes, and just the fact that it's been around forever now and it just has that nostalgia feel to it. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day.